Today, I'm going to show you the absolute simplest method to generate long-form videos. In this video, I'll provide you with a complete workflow and a prompt engineering template. All you need to do is use the template to generate the corresponding prompts. Run our flow and you will get a very high-quality long video. What's special about this is that the video isn't just a simple extension of a single movement. It involves changes in the overall environment, so the storytelling aspect is very strong. To test the effectiveness of this method, I generated a lot of videos both in landscape and portrait modes, and the overall generation quality is excellent. Let's break down exactly how to use it. I've built this workflow on RunningHub. You can access the platform directly through RunningHub.ai. In the world of ComfyUI, RunningHub is a fantastic online workbench because they follow up immediately whenever new models or extensions appear. You can register for RunningHub using the invitation link in my video description to get 1,000 free credits. Plus, you get an extra 100 credits gifted every day you log in, so you can easily try out your own workflows. Let's take a look at the workflow. What you're seeing now is essentially an SVI 2.0 Pro workflow designed for generating long videos. We've already explained the basic structure of this workflow in detail in a previous video, so I won't repeat that. Instead, I want to focus on the improvements we've made. The most significant change is the main model. In the previous workflow, we used the original 2.2 image-to-video model. Here, we are using a new model called Smooth Mix. Why did we switch to this model? If you look at its page on SVI2.0, you'll see it has a high noise model and a low noise model. The biggest feature of Smooth Mix is that it optimizes motion. When we use the original model, you might have noticed that it often failed to complete certain actions. I used to think it was because the duration wasn't long enough, so I increased the frames from 81 to 121. But it still couldn't finish a complete action. However, after switching to Smooth Mix, we see distinct improvements in two areas. First, it effectively solves the video color shifting issue. Second, in terms of motion performance, it perfectly executes the key actions described in our prompts. Of course, it brings some new problems, mainly regarding character consistency, which I will demonstrate in detail with specific examples later. Since this model is natively accelerated, we don't need to use an acceleration LoRa here. We do, however, use the SVI Pro LoRa's 1 for the high noise model and 1 for the low noise model. The video generation consists of two parts. First is the base video. You need to pay attention to a specific setting here. In our standard setup, this value can be set to 1 or 2. We don't recommend setting it higher. So when do you use 1 and when do you use 2? If you want the subsequent video clips to stay in the same environment and maintain strong continuity with the previous clip, using the last two motion frames as a reference, you should set it to 2. If you want the next video to have a more drastic change from the previous one, set it to 1. You might notice I have it set to 0 here. That's because this is the base video generation, so there are no previous frames to sample from yet. Next, I used a multi-line prompt node to provide 4 extension prompts, describing the remaining 4 shots. We then use a loop to generate these 4 shots one by one. This produces the final effect you see. Throughout the video's progression, we don't just get a one-shot continuous take, we also get something similar to the SVI film mode with camera cuts, making the overall generation much more flexible. Plus, there's no color shifting, and the performance is solid from start to finish. Now, let's look at the second test instance, which is a vertical video here. Let's explain how the prompt generator works. Note that the prompt generator accepts my reference image as input. Based on that image, it generates 5 distinct shots, each with a detailed prompt. We paste the first prompt into the base video section, and the remaining 4 prompts go into the list for the loop to generate the final video. I've provided 2 versions of this prompt engineering template, one in English and one in Chinese. This is an LLM large language model prompt template, so you can use it in any major AI chat model. Let me demonstrate using Gemini. Start a new session and select the model here. I'm choosing Gemini 1.5 Pro. Open the system instructions and paste in the prompt engineering template I provided. Next, upload an image. You don't need to type any additional text prompts, just run it. To make the generated prompts more story-driven, I configured the output into 3 sections. The first part analyzes the character and the narrative path. The second part provides a detailed explanation for each shot, including motion prompts and focus points. The third part extracts the core prompts we actually need. These are the 5 prompts you'll use. Without the analysis in the first 2 steps, the quality of the final prompts might not be as high. Simply copy the final text block. Remember, the first prompt goes into the input box for the base video, and the rest go into the loop. Then, just run the workflow. Let's look at the final result. You'll see the character starts walking, enters a shop, and then walks back out. The sense of story is very strong. In addition to these basic tests, I also tested an Eastern-style character. The reference image is an Eastern beauty practicing with a sword on a snowy mountain peak. I used the same prompt generator. In the result, the girl practices with the sword, lifts a spray of snow with a blade, and then there's a camera cut. She enters a stone gate and arrives in a lush, new environment, essentially by using SVI 2.0 Pro combined with our prompt system. You can very simply generate long videos with a strong narrative feel. Does this method have downsides? Yes, it does. The main issue is character consistency. If we compare the generated character with the reference image and sync them up, you'll notice the character's consistency shifts. Compared to the original 2.2 model, Smooth Mix is weaker at maintaining character identity, even though it's better at color and motion. This issue is visible even in the first 2 clips, in the vertical video demo. By the time we get to the later clips, the character looks noticeably different from the reference. Is there a solution? I tried an approach. Here is the logic. The 2.2 architecture has a high noise model responsible for composition, and a low noise model responsible for refining actions and details like facial features. So, I tried an experiment where I kept Smooth Mix for the high noise model, but switched the low noise model back to the original image to video model, adding the necessary acceleration LoRa. The result: the consistency was much better. While not 100% identical, the facial features remained much more similar to the reference. However, this method impacts the motion quality. The actions aren't as fluid or dynamic. We are always balancing between consistency and motion fluidity. While this is a potential fix, it didn't achieve the perfect result I wanted, but I encourage you to experiment with it. There is one final limitation: the prompt engineering itself. I hoped the LLM would be flexible enough to create unique variations for every scene, but current models aren't quite that smart yet. So the 5 shots follow a pre-designed structure. Shot 1 is the base scene. Shot 2 focuses on motion and interaction with objects. Shot 3 reaches a boundary. Shot 4 is an environmental transition. Shot 5 consolidates the character in the new environment. If you generate too many of these, they might start to feel homogenized. This is an area where the prompt template could be optimized. Regardless, through constant testing, we have provided you with a standardized, automated way to create story-driven long videos with ease. What are you waiting for? Go try it out yourself. Follow me to become someone who truly understands AI.